Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Small Business Lover channel. I'm here tonight with a very special guest. Allow her to introduce herself.
Hey guys, my name is Chrissy. I am the owner and maker of Lola Paz Designs.
Love. Okay, so talk to me about your business. What inspired you to start Lola Paz Designs?
Okay, so there's been actually many iterations of my business. So about 20 years ago, in my 20s, I started making jewelry. I didn't have any type of inspiration. I really just wanted to have like a creative outlet. So when I was younger, I feel like I had an entrepreneurial spirit, but didn't know what that was. So like I used to make shirts and like paint them and I made dolls and I decorated bottles and like sold them and stuff. So it was
Yeah.
always very crafty, very do it yourself, stuff like that. And I don't know how I found jewelry, if I'm being completely honest. I just found it and I loved it. So when I was younger though, and this was way before like pop-ups, trade
Yeah.
shows, all that stuff, I used to make jewelry. I would package it, give them to my mom and my uncle, and they would sell them to their coworkers.
Stop. I love
So
it so much.
I did it for a while and then life kind of happened and
Yeah.
I stopped. Fast forward, right? And I guess present day and how this iteration had happened. Um, so in 2018,
Yes.
um, my boyfriend at the time died by suicide, and and I found him. And I mean, obviously, like you know, grief circle, just like a trauma, um, and all of that. And I won't get too much into that right now, but it was really creativity that brought me out of that. I met a lot of people in the grief community who you just see them being resilient despite like what happened.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, maybe I can do that too. So creativity is what brought me back out. I started being creative. I started making jewelry again. And so what was happening though was I was building up making all this jewelry and it was just sitting in my drawers,
Yeah.
right? So then come a few years later after that, I met my current boyfriend, whose name is Nick, and he's an artist, he's a graphic artist, and he was like, babe, like what is all this stuff? Like why is it sitting here?
You found your horn stash?
Yeah, because because he vends. He
Yeah.
vends and everything like that. And it's like, why don't you try it? So I did. And so that's kind of how I started getting back into it. So Lola Paz, my grandmother, her nickname was Paz, stands for peace.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she and her spirit during my grief really brought me peace
Yeah.
and really helped me find my peace. And so I named it after her. And so that's where we're at.
Oh my God. Okay. So you started in your 20s and kind of a hiatus, and then you were almost re-inspired by like the most unfortunate occurrence.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it's interesting with suicide. I feel like there's a lot of like biases, and I don't want to say shame, but it is. It's
it
like
is.
a
There's a stigma for sure
yeah,
around suicide and what that means for mental health and everything like that. Um, I will say that I have found like so many strong people,
mhm,
either like attempt survivors or loss survivors. And sometimes like people can't escape the pain, and that's like people don't want to die.
yeah,
They want to escape pain. And sometimes it's the only way to like see that. Um, and that's something that I've learned. Like in meeting so many people, I've attended a lot of meetings, like bereavement meetings and stuff like that. And that's what you learn. And for me, it's like I had to like destigmatize it in my own brain too, you know.
no, that totally makes sense.
So I'm super open. Like I donate every year to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. So like towards the end of the year, I'll start doing
Yeah,
fundraising and stuff like that. And it's just, especially now and the times that we're living, I think it's so important to let people know, like, hey, you're okay, and it's okay to feel the way you're feeling, and you're not alone in what you're feeling.
It's so hard. I feel like a lot of people say mental health, I need a mental health day. And it's almost like, I don't want to say abused, but it's almost used so often that you don't really know when.
If someone needs help or something.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's signs, but there's also those instances where like there's no signs and you have no idea.
That happens.
And I think that's what makes it so hard is it's not linear. You can't peg what someone looks like or
Yeah.
like what their life looks like. And I think honestly, what I've learned in the small business world, especially, is like when you walked into Local Gem Collective, I had no idea. I would have never known that you went
Yeah.
through that. And that's where I'm finding the beauty in a lot of the struggle in being a small business owner. You've made such an impact and you're so hard on yourself. Your jewelry is insanely beautiful. Like the
Thank
collection you dropped today, I can't even, I'm gonna go buy every single piece. What I really love about your jewelry is how you tie in your spirituality.
Yes. So here's what I was thinking about, right? So after John died,
Yeah.
I was really brought into spirituality. And I feel like people throw that word around, but I mean, I read all these books about like spirit and where does your spirit go? Because you're like, are you okay?
Yeah.
This is what happened, right? And that's what really, I think, opened up a lot of things. But here's what I'll say. So, do you ever reflect back in your life and like childhood and you see these little seeds that are dropped, not realizing what it grows into as an adult? So when I was young, I was super into celestial everything, like everything. I don't know why. I thought it was cool, right? Had it all over my walls. I used to collect gemstones and rocks. I didn't know what it meant, you know? So then coming into now and seeing all these things that happened to me in the past, like when I was younger too, I saw spirits and stuff like
You
that. And
did?
I don't really remember, but my mom remembers and she's telling me these
Isn't
stories.
that funny?
So now I feel like being opened up after grief and finding this path and what I believe is like truth of like souls and everything. I try to bring that into, it's not even that I try to bring it into my jewelry, it's just there.
Yeah, it just happens. Like,
It's
it's
just
just there.
there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a way to express myself. It's a way to like, put good juju and energy into like what I'm making and hopefully like it helps other people.
No,
I
I
think
think that's beautiful.
it's community. And I think, especially what you were saying, it's like there's a story behind every business most of the time. There's some kind of catalyst, right? That makes you want to share your experience with the world and like help other people through your craft, through your business, through the community you're creating. You know?
It's just like so ironic how I ended up doing this because I spent such a long time just, prioritizing all these like things that honestly mean nothing. Like,
Girl, yes.
like it means nothing.
Yes. And look, I still have my corporate job.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I love it
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always allow me to like express my own creativity, right? What's funny is I work with designers. Like I'm a director. I work for a procurement company and we
Mhm.
buy and we work with designers and owners for like hotels, restaurants, stuff like that. Um, to basically like buy the FF&E, so like furniture, fixtures. So when you're in a hotel, I probably bought that stuff.
Did Home Depot help you, by the way, with those faucets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's still in motion and I owe Ray a call back.
I love that. Okay.
But yes, thank you.
How long have you been in the pop-up game?
Um, April 2023, so not a lot.
Well, okay, a year though in the pop-up game or 2 years is kind of a long time.
Yeah. I just look, I didn't know what I was doing. I feel like I still don't know what I'm doing. And you're talking about like how it took you 3 weeks to decide this and that, whatever. Like I have had my website, like I have had my website ready for months.
Yeah.
Months.
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of stuff up. And literally yesterday, I was like, let me unhide it, right?
Yes.
So it's up. I haven't like launched it or whatever. It's just kind of there.
What is it?
LolaPazDesigns.com.
Okay, everyone go to www.lolapazsigns.com. The link is actually on the Local Gem Collective website. You can shop our makers online now. You're welcome.
So I'm still in the process of like putting stuff up, but we talk about it all the time about um imposter syndrome and not
Oh my
feeling
God.
like you're worthy with your
Yeah.
knowledge or you know what I mean? But you are. Like, look what you've created, and people tell me that too. It's like, no, you're doing great. I'm like, am I? I'm not sure.
You're doing amazing. I can't even like fathom the thought of you not signing Local Gem Collective. Like I personally can't imagine a world where like Chrissy at Lollapalooza Designs isn't a part of my life.
But you started it. You did. Look, here's what happened. I was looking for pop-ups, right? I didn't even know really about like like a collective type of store at the
Yeah.
time when I met you. And you had put a post, I think, and it just happened to be across. And this is what I'm saying about the universe and spirituality and how things are placed for you. And you just have to grab this opportunity,
Yeah.
right? I was like, what is this? I don't know. I didn't even know it was like a store. That it was a store. I was like, oh, is this some kind of like pop up? How long is this for? I walked in. I wasn't even going to sign because I was like, I'm not sure. I don't know. What am I doing?
It's upstairs and it's scary. Oh my God.
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And literally, I remember we were talking, and you said like that you're Filipino and stuff. Like I'm Filipino. We're like, oh my God! Literally, we hugged, and you were like, I have this. Let's do this. And I was like, okay. You started
Thank you.
giving me that like confidence to like take risks. You really did. Like I bounce a lot of shit off of you all the time because I'm scared all the time.
Yeah.
Like all the time. It's like I feel like my biggest lesson in this life is fear and conquering fear
Oh my God.
for sure. Because I'm scared of everything all the time. And so like I mean I was doing pop-ups, like whatever, this is cool. Like your store was the first one I joined. Didn't know what I was doing, trying to figure it out, all that stuff. I just continued and I'm in a couple other locations now, but it all started with you and giving me that chance. And like I'm super forever grateful for it. And I love being a part of this community. I get a lot of inspiration from like everybody that is in the shop. Everybody sharing their stories and being real about their struggles or what they're going through and their successes too, and forming like relationships with them.
There's been some like really cool things that have come out of Local Gem Collective. Like apart from the store and all the things, like I've met some of like my really close friends now. Like I just had Yvonne on here and I'm like, girl, like how are you not a billionaire? Like I don't understand. I've never met a typewriter poet in my life.
No.
And you all just happen to be Filipino. It's so bizarre. And like I went through this whole not identity crisis, but I went through this whole healing journey, like my first year in business, and I swear I'll fucking die on this hill. I know that's exactly why I was perched upstairs. I wasn't ready to take on this challenge yet. I had a lot to like divulge and get out of my system. Um, but also accept myself for who I am.
Girl, still working on it.
Like
Yeah.
it was almost like I gave myself permission to exist. Is that too deep?
No. Like I always like I mean I was born here. My mom came to the States when she was like 25. And I have always felt not Filipino enough. I can't speak the language.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few words here and there, you know what I mean? But I've always struggled with that. And I'm telling you now, like when I see things, even now, like Filipino pop-ups, I'm like, I want to be a part of this community.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I'm not Filipino enough to join this. I still feel like that. I still try, but yeah.
It was almost like the universe is one big Super Mario game where you just have to keep passing the levels and
Yes.
evolving.
I feel like it never ends.
When you said your lesson in this life is to face your fears, it really felt like my lesson in this life was leaping on my own. This happened and I was terrified. This is actually the first thing I've ever done in my life where there's no connection.
Really?
Literally.
Wow.
And I was terrified.
Yeah.
Because I've always been given like, okay, here's the path. But it was so freeing. I can't even describe that. Like the day that I got the keys, I was so fucking proud of myself. Like I was proud of myself for the first store, but this is mine. Like I did this.
Yeah, but
And
I can feel that in the energy.
really?
Yes, I can feel it in your energy. I can feel it in store's energy, and like
My eyes are watering.
like the people that are like attracted, and the community that you're like building here. You know what I mean? Like you should be proud of yourself.
It's happening so fast. Like, I'm not even trying to book every weekend. It's just happening. Like, all the things that we're doing. And the crazy thing is, like, it was everything at the first store felt so forced. This is just like so easy.
Yeah,
It's almost like I can't believe it.
because you're in alignment.
Finally, it feels really good.
Well, first there's always growing, right? You're always learning, there's always growing, there's always new lessons, all that stuff, obviously. But that doesn't mean that when you can't recognize your blessings and your accomplishments. First of all, something that I've learned is okay, so my lessons, fear and then like feeling worthy. My
Oh
lessons,
yeah.
right? I think that like life is a continual learning experiment that our souls are here for. But that doesn't mean you can't celebrate your wins. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm learning. Like nothing has to be perfect for you to feel proud of like what you're doing, you know? Um, and I'm saying this now too, just so when I watch it, I'm also reminded of
I'm
it
like, girl, you should be watching this.
because I don't do that. I'm the type of person that can give advice and never follow.
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like when something happens where you just learn how to be more authentically yourself, um, figure out like what you value, what your priorities are. Um, that's what happened to me when I went through what I went through. And like on the personal side, and then honestly, and on my corporate business side, like I'm so very thankful for the company that I work for right now. Small company, they value our time,
Hmm.
they value family life, they don't make us run in circles, to get any type of approvals for like vacation or hey, someone's sick or hey, I need to run this errand. Like I'm so thankful because this job came to me when John died. Like literally, I had moved into a new apartment. John died. No, I moved to an apartment. I got a new job, and John died all within a week.
Wow.
So it was a lot, right? And something that I've learned from then to now, it's been six, not quite a half years, is when you find or learning to find yourself and you start to accept yourself, like the right people come, the right opportunities show up because the universe is coming like out for you, you know? That's why I know that I get in my own way all the time. And this fear bullshit, I know that it stops me from like so many things. So that's what I need help with.
But you have to give yourself credit for making it out of that because it's one thing to lose someone in that manner, but to actually witness it is another. And like the fact that you were able to come out of that, like you should be so proud. Like I'm so proud of you. You're in like 5 stores. You are killing it with your jewelry lines. Like you're sitting here doing this podcast with me and you brought these delicious snacks that I can't wait to inhale. It's so crazy how, I don't know, you might understand this. I finally have the dream life that I've wanted, and I'm still not fulfilled, and working through that.
But not fulfilled, feeling like you're not doing enough. Because that is not true. If that's what it is, like if you feel like you're not putting enough energy
Yeah.
or time, girl, like that's completely not true.
I think it's just rewiring my brain. Like I'm so used to being busy all the time, where
Yeah.
when it's slow, I don't know what to do with myself.
I totally get it. Because I was used to that. I was used to that in my corporate life for sure. Like working late hours, really putting like I put so much energy, I feel like, into my career,
Yeah.
um, that I didn't know who I was without it. And everything had happened. So like my company before this one, um, they went bankrupt and they screwed a bunch of people, including
Mm,
me.
mm.
And like I said, I was really lucky to find this job. I needed it while I was healing. You know what I mean? When these opportunities come for you to like something new, you have to do it. And I was very fearful of being on this podcast. I'm still like, I can feel my anxiety because I never know what to say. But I was like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm proud of you. You're doing great.
Just little steps to like I even if you try something and you're like, be proud that you took that step. You know what I mean?
It's so weird because it took literally a year for me to be proud of what I'm doing. I know that sounds crazy.
That makes me sad.
I know, I know. It makes me like really assess my definition of success because I remember dreaming about this life. Like, I want my own store. I want to be in Orange and, I want to spend slow mornings at home and I get it. And I'm like, I don't feel successful. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I was talking to, I just met the owner of Clark Station. It's a really cute, like, flower plant store down the street on Main. And she comes from a sales background. So we were talking one day and I'm like, do you just drive yourself insane with like trying to comp and look at trends and transactions and like try to figure all this out? And she's like, it's a curse.
Yeah.
Like it's a curse from having a job before.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that knowledge, but it can actually keep me up at night
Oh, yeah.
because I'm always trying to forecast and comp and like I know that's what makes me great in certain capacities, but it's also my own downfall.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to look back because I do. So, like, okay, I can talk like this now. A year ago, end of February, we were closing out our second month being open,
Mhm.
and I remember like it hitting me like, oh my God, bitch, you quit your job. Like, what did you do? Looking back, I wish I had a journal to look at how much I worked through.
Yeah.
I feel successful now my last star reading, she's like, what do you think success is? You don't do
Yeah.
anything? Like, you're killing it. Like, do
Yeah.
you just want to stay home all day? And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not that. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me.
So you didn't end up defining your success.
Oh, I didn't.
I mean, if you're happy,
So happy.
I feel like happiness in itself is successful. My first like real job was at Blockbuster Video. Super aging myself, but Blockbuster Video. And I remember when I was like an assistant manager and they were like, you're the manager.
Yeah.
You're too young to be the manager. I know it's Blockbuster and it's not quite the same, but also I was in charge of like the entire store
No, that's a
for
big
like a
deal.
certain amount of hours.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
a
what
big
I'm
deal.
saying? But like, I get it. I get it when people like say those things or like,
Yeah.
make you feel like you're not.
From May to like probably October. So 5 months. No idea. It's a blur.
Yeah.
I was getting up and just
Yeah.
going. Like, have you ever seen Fight Club? I was literally
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
like grief, dude.
That's what I did. It's like I would get up because I didn't really ask for days off or anything. I remember like I would get up, put on my face, we go. Nobody could tell. I get home. The first thing I'd take everything off. I put on my sweats and I stayed on the couch. I stayed on the couch. I slept on the couch for like 6+ months, just on the couch. Like my couch is all dented from that side, you know? Yeah, just putting on a mask, you know what I mean? And hiding that grief and
I think it's so amazing that you found a partner that understands
yeah.
and supports you in that way. Tell me about that. Like, what would you tell someone? What would you tell your younger self?
How did I know you were gonna ask something like
I'm sorry.
that? No, you're all good. I have a grief account on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's called Letters to John. It's like letters underscore to underscore John in case anybody wants to go read my grief stuff. But there are still people who message me on there that are new to the grief. And what I tell people are what you're feeling is valid.
Yeah.
It's not going to be this heavy. It will always be there. But that doesn't mean that you can't find joy again. And when you laugh for the first time, you're going to feel fucking awful about it
Mm.
because you're going to feel guilty because you're laughing. You feel guilty because you're you're not like drowning because you for me it was like if I am trying to find happiness again, what does that mean for my love and grief for John?
Mm.
Does that mean it wasn't real? Does that mean it didn't happen? So I had a hard time. Nick's been really patient with me. Like I'm hard. I'm difficult. Okay, I am. I'm a little brat. I'm hard to deal with. I think sometimes. Um, but like we met on Hinge,
I love that.
and I was very upfront when I decided to start dating again.
Yeah.
Like this is what happened to me. You know, you can take that or leave it. And like he was super sensitive about it. He's still sensitive about it. When you start to notice things like how many times a day do people like, oh my God, I want to just kill myself, or oh my
Oh,
God, just I'm gonna shoot myself in the head. Like that's how John died, shot himself. And he's super sensitive about that. Like, oh my gosh, so sorry you had to hear that. Like when we watch like TV shows, if there's something like extra gory or something, babe, close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them.
How
Like, it's
sweet.
super duper sweet. He has participated in walks with me. Um, like I think it's so important to find somebody if you're going through grief. I mean, particularly like a partner.
Yeah.
Right? Like people will judge you.
Yeah.
Like you'll be judged for not moving fast enough. You'll be judged for moving forward. There's this girl that I follow. She got remarried, and someone had posted like, "Oh, I feel so bad for your current husband because you keep posting stuff about your like late husband."
See, that's the shit that pisses me off.
That's so awful.
It's like, who are you?
Yes, and that happens a lot. And so like I would just tell people like tune that out, like you're worthy. You're like what do they want you to do? And unless you've like gone through it, and even if you've gone through it, you can never judge somebody else's like
No,
experience. It
girl.
makes me so mad. John and I had a super complicated relationship, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to go into super
Yeah.
details, but like one of those on and off,
Yeah.
bullshit,
Mhm.
right? Whatever. But we shared a lot of love. Like I really loved him. I really loved him still. He loved me. I feel him in spirit. He has come through in many readings, all that stuff. And you know what he tells me? He told me, fly. He said, fly, baby girl, fly. Be happy. You know what I mean? And they're here, like they're rooting for us.
You
They
know
don't leave.
what I hear all the time, and I've heard this multiple times, and I want your take on it. I've heard it where they say that they're learning again. Like,
Yes.
is that true? Like, do you believe that?
So what I believe happens when we transition is that we have a soul review and we review all of our lessons and all of that stuff. Where could we have gone better? Where could we have done like, helped other people? Where did we go wrong type stuff? That's what I believe.
That's
And then I
insane.
believe that they have like jobs on the other side where they help other souls. Um, I was told, and it's also my feeling that John is helping other souls that have passed through suicide. Um, I totally believe that. That's totally something you would have done, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and they retain their personalities, but like the good stuff. But they can still be like a grumpo
Did you hear like coins right now?
coin.
I heard like coins.
No,
Is that weird?
what does that mean?
I don't know. Okay, on the topics of ghost, our last store was super active.
Yes.
What did you feel like walking in?
Um, I just felt like not alone.
Yeah.
It didn't feel necessarily bad or malicious, just that they were there for a long time, lingering. Did you hear that?
It's a dog.
Are you sure?
I hear a dog collar. Is that what you hear?
I don't know.
I heard it though. Did you?
I heard something. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a dog collar. Girl, I hear things all the time. I
Okay.
see things all the time. Like I see shadows and stuff.
I just heard it.
There's nothing there.
No. Okay, whatever. Sorry.
It's okay. See,
Okay.
and I don't feel
Yeah.
like being bad, but let me
Okay.
just
So the last store, the building was from the 20s, from my understanding, and it was a grocery store, a furniture store, and I actually found a picture of that. It was Higgins Furniture Store.
oh my God.
And then, according to the owner, the current owner, it was a rolling rink upstairs. Now, I don't understand looking back how I was there every day alone. Like, it's so scary.
I felt okay, so remember when we moved to this store
Yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
going in? When I had to go in there because I was by myself
Yeah.
and I was like, I need to hurry up because I felt, but again, not malicious, but I'm scared of my own
Yeah.
power and what I
Yeah.
feel. So I was trying to get out of it. It's definitely not alone.
I can't play the video because my phone's recording, but there was a day where,
In the summer,
yes, I've shared that.
the record player.
Yes.
God, I heard it. I freaking heard it because you sent it to me. It's like plain as day.
Yes. So, okay, after losing my grandfather, I felt really drawn and connected to my lineage and a lot of my ancestors. I know it sounds crazy, like that's literally what I feel.
I I love
As soon as my grandpa passed away, I got an ancestry account, and within days, we have like 6 generations back. Fun fact, where my grandfather's from, or where he was raised, partially in the summer, it's called Chimayo, New Mexico. Chimayo is the home of, it's called the Santuario. It's a chapel, but like a lot of people take pilgrimages there
Yeah.
because there's allegedly holy dirt.
Oh,
And
okay.
I saw it. So there's a room. It's like this, it's a really old, beautiful church with like a creek running on the side.
Hmm.
It's just like a really beautiful place. But there's a room with like crutches and wheelchairs and all these things in there because people say that they were able to walk after visiting that place and touching the
Yeah.
dirt. So when I looked at my grandfather's tree, there was a man named Francisco Mestas, and he's like 6 generations back. So he's my sixth great grandfather.
Hmm.
He was one of the only ones with a picture, and I was super drawn to him. We share a birthday.
That's so crazy.
So January 29th, but he's like 1811.
Damn.
But in the record, he actually was the first settler in Chimayo. So he settled that
So
place. And I'm
crazy.
like, is that why I'm such a spearhead? Anyways, back to the ghost. So, I have like this little, I call it like an altar, I guess, but I have my grandparents' pictures, I have a record player, and I wanted to do a Day of the Dead altar. So we're transitioning into October. So I do the altar, we do all the things, and we're decorating for it. Well, I had all of these boxes in front of checkout, which was in a different room. Okay. So we're in the sunroom with a record player, me and my two friends. All the boxes are in a whole other room. So we go to the other room, but before we do that, my girlfriend turns on the record player for whatever reason. I don't know why she did it. She doesn't know why she did it. She just did it. So we go to the other room. We're opening all these boxes, and the music got like substantially louder. Like it was really loud. And we looked at each other and we're like, "Do you hear that?" So I told one of them, I'm like, "Go check the record player." The knob was actually all the way turned up. So someone physically turned the knob. I still cannot. I can't. Like I cannot. Okay. So I call my mom because it was almost like a joke, but I feel like that was my like
Yeah.
that was like my like
Yeah.
trauma response. I'm
Yeah.
about to call my mom.
Yeah.
I was scared. So my mom's like, check the camera. So we check the camera. We don't see anything. But as soon as I hit playback on the playback thing, the voice came through and I fucking
Insane.
dropped my phone because it was like terrifying.
That's insane.
So we go back, we listen to the whole thing. So we had to go all the way back to like the time that we got there. There's this like banging and like almost like furniture being thrown around. And then this loud voice goes like, "Oh, like it's fucking scary. You've heard it." Everybody
That's
that's gone up
insane.
there has said there's something eerie about that other room.
Yeah.
And it was the sunroom.
Did we ever find out like if anything happened in that room or in
There's,
that
I
building?
mean, everyone tells me to go to the library here in Orange, but I mean, God, that's from the 20s. That's a long
It's a
time.
long
It's a
time.
hundred years.
Yeah,
I'm sure something happened in there.
for sure.
But we have psychics and spiritual fairs. One of them said, a few of them actually, like reputable mediums have said that it's not a bad person, but he's not a good person either. Like he's stuck there, and
Oh,
that's why he's not happy. But I think back to when I was there, up until that point, I never felt unsafe. But I really feel like my family was like protecting me in there.
yeah, yeah. I've been told that I have like a big, huge spiritual team, and it's a lot of my ancestors and my family and like angels and
I feel that too. Like I know for sure, like that's definitely a thing.
yeah.
Like, see how crazy this is? It's a business podcast, and we're like talking all things not business.
I can talk about spirituality all day.
Me too. Me too.
Like you're like, introduce yourself, and I'm like, okay, this is who I am. And then you're like, ghost. I'm like, yes, tell me everything. Like, I can't. I've had a lot of strange experiences after he died. Like, I've experienced like, so I was sleeping on my couch, and I feel like I woke up, but I wasn't awake. It was like my spirit because I was like hovering over myself, and I could like see my apartment, but my eyes were closed, and I know they were closed. I wasn't like I could see everything. I was looking down. Like that's happened to me twice. Like the spirit out of body thing,
What's that called? It's called like a projector.
like astral projection.
Yes, that's what that. Yes.
Yeah, and then I remember like feeling like talking to myself like, oh, she's waking up. I don't know. And then I could feel like you know how they talk about like so when you astral project like you have a silver string that attaches your soul. I could feel it in
Are
my
you
stomach like
serious?
reeling back into my stomach and then I woke up and then when I woke up I couldn't move my body because I feel like I had body paralysis.
Oh my
Have you
God.
had that?
No, thank God I've never had that because
Like
I
you
would be
can't move.
terrified.
You're just like there and I was like, but I read about it. So I was like, this is what's happening to me. I was like talking to myself, like so I didn't feel weird. And I was like, to me a lot. And then at some point I was like, this is too much. I'm getting scared. And I literally was like, stop in my head, like out loud. And then I yelled it and then I could move. That's just like one thing. I don't even,
I get like weird synchronicities that happen to me a lot.
yeah,
Like there was this around like December, I wanted to use my voice. Like I was like, I didn't know it would be this, but I'm like, okay, I want to write a book, I think, about my journey. And I do still think I want to write a book. I just don't think that I have the full story yet. And I don't think it's time. I think this is its time. We're having this podcast era right now.
yeah.
But I was on the fence about it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start writing. So literally, I bust out my laptop and I just start typing and it's like flowing. I
Awesome.
think I did. It was like 1900 words in like
Wow.
a day because it
That's
just
amazing.
flowed.
See,
But I was writing chapters. Have you ever read the book, The Last Lecture?
no,
Okay, I would highly recommend that. It's like 10 out of 10, but I kind of modeled it after that book where it was going back and forth from the experience and then the lessons learned. So like every other
I love
chapter
it.
was dedicated to someone in my family.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
So as I was writing it, this customer comes in and she shops, whatever, and leaves and then comes back like right away. So I was like, oh, did I like ring her up wrong?
Mm.
And she's like, I just felt this really strong desire to like come back and give you my card. I'm literally typing a book right now, and her card said Rachel, like published author or author, and I'm like, this is insane. So I like screamed, I'm like, are you kidding? And I turned the laptop around to show her, and like we talk on Instagram and stuff. She's awesome. Then right after that, Erica from Now Us walked in
Mm.
with her friends. Now Us is a nonprofit, so she walks in right after Rachel,
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is the Super Mario shit I'm talking about.
yeah.
Like, did I just need to take initiative and
Yes,
do this for all
yes,
these things to happen?
yes.
And it's funny because after typing out the book, I'm like, I didn't need to write a book. I just needed a fucking journal. Like, I just needed to get that
Get it
out.
out. Yeah. I just, okay, I'm not changing the subject,
No, you're
but
fine.
also I'm saying because you're talking about writing a book, like I want to write a book and I want to write it about my first year of grief.
You should do that.
And like each chapter is a month where I take my real experiences, like I put excerpts and stuff in my journal and stuff like that. This is like literally the first time I'm talking about it out loud. So we'll see what happens. But I just remember because I haven't thought about this quite a while and I have like maybe a page written. But then when I watched in the store, you were talking, I was talking. I don't know why. I don't know why. Because I feel like you're just very inspirational to me. I feel like you have the ability to get over like fears and stuff like that and just jump in, which is something that like I'm not the best at because I sit for a very long time, hence like a website that's really ready to go for months. But like this is the second time we're talking about it, and when you talk about it, it makes me feel like okay, I need to do that because I feel like it will be helpful for people where I kind of combine like my journal, my experiences, plus the messages that I can
Girl, yes, do it. Do it. Okay, you know what my
just
driving
feel like
force is? You don't have to be. You know what? I would take experience over proper writing technique any day of the week.
yeah,
If it was between like an established author that's never gone through it, I would pick you all day because you've gone through it.
yeah.
Like you're like real life. Like you need to do that. I'm gonna follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay.
I feel like my power is that. It's
Yeah.
almost like I'm just like an accelerator, like, okay, let's do it. I'm like an activator.
No, I feel like that's a perfect word
Yeah, I'm
because
like
you
an
are.
activator.
No, you are. I feel like you are, and I feel like you are for a lot of people. And I think people see what you do and get the courage to do what they're supposed to do, you know?
Yeah,
Because we're all mirrors of each other,
yeah.
and I'm looking at you like, what am I lacking?
Nothing. You have it. You have
Well, you know
everything.
what I'm saying.
No, yeah. No, it's scary. Like
Yeah.
I don't when I thought about doing a podcast, I'm like, oh my God, what I feel like that's the imposter syndrome. Like, oh my God, what if no one watches it? What if people write bad comments? Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, when I think, you know what I tell myself? What's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
No one watches it. Who cares? This is gonna live forever. And when I left my job, one of the biggest factors and like questions that I would ask myself is, what's your footprint on this earth? If you were to die tomorrow, Jasmine, Like, what could the world say about you?
Yeah.
I made an impact on a ton of young leaders at Home Depot. Um, but I just knew in my soul, like I always knew that as much as I loved it, that wasn't it for me. And I feel like me getting to store manager was more for me to prove that I could do it. And I feel like it actually breaking me and my soul was like God's way of saying, okay, you did it, get out. Like now it's time for you to do this for yourself.
Yeah.
And the validation that I get, honestly, is in these conversations. Like, I can, it is what it is, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's about this. This is the human interaction I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. Well, the real connections in real life. I'm not saying that like you can't have connections on social media. I have a shit ton of connections I met on social media through like my brief account. Like I have friends in like, I don't know, like in Canada, I have friends in like there was somebody I was talking to in like Brazil. There's all the all that stuff. And those were real. But like the follow count, I mean, you don't know half of them.
No,
You know what I mean? So it's like when it becomes real and you form relationships, like that's what's important.
I love that. Well, I think we had a really good
You know, so like we touched everything.
conversation. No, we like did and more. I honestly like I never have a plan for these. I just want to have a conversation,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what that was. I love it. Where can we find you? Where can we support you?
Well, I just started a website. So that's at lolapazdesigns.com. My Instagram is lolapazdesigns. Um, and
You're in like 4 stores. Where can we support you in
oh,
person?
oh yeah, yeah. So I am in Wild Poppy Salon and Makers Market in Whittier. I'm in Empty Shelf, which is small bookshop, record store, art store in San Gabriel. I'm in a boutique called the Gypsy Trip Boutique in Downey. And then I'm in here in Local Gem Collective.
Love. Now go buy all the things, people. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Great job, girlfriend. Now we're gonna eat.
So good. It's so good.
See, you killed it.
I was like literally like, am I being too quiet? Or am I?
You know what I just realized? The mics are on. It's okay.
The what?
The mics.
Are they're not on?
No, it's supposed to be like this.